What's up, guys? How are you? Welcome into a Sunday morning episode of the Daily Juice podcast. My name is Matt Perrault. You guys can follow me across all socials at Sports Talk Matt. And yes, the redness is real. The burn is on. And it was an interesting day today. A big congratulations goes out to my little sister who got engaged up in Maine. It was a really fun day, and it was a fun day on the water, as you can tell by the redness on my face and on my neck and on my arms. We're not wearing sleeves tonight because my back is on fire. So a little bit of a different outfit for the Daily Juice podcast here today. Another 1-in-1 day, another rough one. We've had a really rough week, and it's been one of those weeks where, look, being on vacation, you've seen it before. If you've been with us for a while, a cold snap, a cold streak on vacation normally gets turned around, but I'm not going home after this week, so I'll stay here in New Hampshire for a while. So I'm going to be here for another 10 days or so. So this is going to be a interesting little run here. Normally we turn things around. We have a very big week after we have a disastrous week, but baseball has been so horrific. I don't bet baseball on Sunday. I wouldn't bet it anyway today, just given how cold I have been. The Phillies lost. Ranger Suarez gave up a 3-run home run in the first inning, and that kind of ended their game against the Braves. Lost it 5-1 against Atlanta. But the WNBA bet comes in. I'm 14-10 in the WNBA. So if I'm not betting baseball, am I betting golf? No, I'm not betting the John Deere. Am I betting NASCAR? They're in Chicago on a street race course. No, I'm not betting NASCAR today. I don't bet F1, and I don't bet soccer. I appreciate you guys who have DM'd me. Matt, why don't you bet fill in the blank? Because I don't, okay? So you might say, well, you're losing badly right now. You're right, but why would I bet a sport that I don't know in hopes of turning around and betting a sport that I would hit on? Like, that doesn't make any sense to me to bet sports I don't know. Like, I know these sports, so that leaves me with a 14-10 record in the WNBA. So that's the one sport I've been hitting. There's 4 games today. So we're going to do 3 bets in the WNBA. I don't think I have had a WNBA only card yet. I might have had one earlier in the summer. I can't remember if I have. But that's what I'm going to play today. And you are free to fade this. The problem with, fading with a 2-bet day is if you fade them both, it's the same record, 1-1 or 1-1. Doesn't really matter. So we're betting -110, so you're going to lose a half, 0.1 or 0.1. Like, it's the same thing. So I'm going to give you 3 bets. I don't normally bet 3 games in the WNBA. Normally it's 1 or 2, but I'll bet 3 today because, well, that's my job to do that. And 2, there's nothing else to bet on besides WNBA basketball. So, I mean, next week we get rolling again with the UFC. We get rolling again with boxing. We get rolling again here with some other sports to bet on. But, we're heading towards when the WNBA will have their Olympic break, after July 17th, like right around there, the Olympic break happens. So because of that, it's like, all right, we kind of have to get involved with the WNBA because if we don't right now, we're going to be betting just baseball, and that's not good. We don't want to have me be betting just baseball, given where I am with baseball betting. If you've been watching this podcast, you know where I am right now with betting baseball. It's no fun. So get me to August, get me to college football season, get me back. This is every summer. It's the same refrain from me when it comes to betting baseball. It is just a brutal, brutal run. So 3 bets in the WNBA coming. But first and foremost, let's talk about the Julio Rodriguez jersey giveaway that's still going on right now. You guys can win a signed Julio Rodriguez jersey. You enter for free at bettingpros.com/contest. This is courtesy of our friends at pristineauction.com. All you need to do is head to bettingpros.com/contest, complete the form, and either download the Betting Pros app, leave a review for this podcast, The Daily Juice, or subscribe to our socials at Betting Pros on Twitter, X, and TikTok, and at Betting Pros NFL on Instagram. The more actions you guys complete, the more entries you will receive. We'll be announcing a winner right here on The Juice, so make sure you turn on those notifications so you can be alerted when a new episode of The Juice drops, and you can claim your prize, which this month will be a signed Julio Rodriguez jersey from the Mariners. Enter for free at www.bettingpros.com/contest. Okay, let's start talking a bit about Phoenix in Los Angeles. It's the last game of the day. First game we're going to take a look at. First game we're going to break down here for today. And look, this is going to be an interesting situation because Diana Taurasi is questionable for this game. They're on a back-to-back. Okay, so The Phoenix Mercury fell to the Fever. So it's now taking a look at what's going to happen here and whether or not Taurasi, she's being out or not. I guess they didn't play last night. Sorry, but they're out. She could, if Taurasi doesn't play with the back injury, this could be a significant situation. Now, these two teams, when they've played the last 9 times, it's 6-3 to the under. Our total, if you look at this game, it's like, okay, where are we going to be? It's 60. It's 167.5. It opened at 168.5. The line opened at 7 for Phoenix. It's all the way down to 3 because of Taurasi's injury. All right. So with her being out, there's a lot of question as to what happens next here for who wins this game. I think it's easier to look at the total. Opened at 168.5. It's down to 167.5. And I think we can ride that here and kind of look at trends and look at where we've seen these things and say, okay, 167.5, Phoenix and the Sparks. I think it's a chance to get involved here and jump in with the under. LA on the year is 5 or last 10 is 5-5 overall. They are 11-9 to the under. Phoenix is 12-8 to the under. Head-to-head wise, like I mentioned, 6-3 to the under over the last 9 games between these two teams. Last time I played on the 28th of June. The game was in Phoenix, mind you, not Los Angeles. It was at 170.5. The game went under there. In the game on June 2nd on the 2024, also in Phoenix, the game was 162.5. The game went under. And in the game against Phoenix, or the first game against Phoenix on May 10th of this year, it pushed. So we are 2-0-1 to the under in the 3 games. Now, these games are obviously played in Phoenix. Now, this is in LA. Switching against Las Vegas Aces, their last game went over 173.5 because the game went to overtime. More on Vegas in a second. 98-93, that game went over. But in the previous 2 games, under against Washington and under against Phoenix, we're going to come back in here and go with under 167.5 for Phoenix and the Mercury. You can probably get 168 at some places around if you kind of shop around, but mostly it's 167.5 painted at the moment. We're going under 167.5 for Phoenix in Los Angeles. Late game here on a Sunday night, 4 o'clock Pacific time, 7 p.m. Eastern time start for this one here, under 67.5 for 1.1 units. Okay, speaking of Vegas, this is pretty interesting. I mentioned that game went to overtime between Vegas and L.A. Won by L.A. 98-93. You know Vegas is going to be furious about losing a game like this to a team they should not lose to. The Aces have held their last 7 opponents in regulation to an average of 78 points per game. The team total for the Wings tonight is 80.5. Now, it's a little juicy, minus 125. But I think there's real value here in jumping in on this. The reason is this. Vegas probably is going to kill them, to be frank. Okay, Vegas most likely is going to kill Dallas. Vegas ATS-wise this year, they're 8-11, but they're coming on like really strong, as we mentioned. 5-5 over their last 10 games. They lose in overtime to LA, but at home, they won by 16 over Washington, 13 over Indiana. They won by 5, and they covered against they won by 9, and they covered. So they covered a 16-point number against Washington, 13-point number against Indiana, and a 5-point number against Connecticut, and a 6-point number against Seattle. Last 4 games, 4-0 ATS for Vegas at home. Do I want to lay this many points? No, I do not. I don't really look to lay 15 points with anybody. Even at home, I don't want to lay 15 points. The first move was to the under. It's 15, went up to 15.5, came back down to 15. It's right around there. Vegas won by 15, 16 points. So I'm not entirely comfortable with saying, yes, let's go ahead and jump on the laying 15 with Vegas. I lean towards the under, but the first move in this has been to the over. It's been a massive move. 173. It's now 176 across the board. So, like, massive move to the over in this game. How many points will Dallas score? That's my worry. I don't know. As just mentioned, Vegas is averaging, in regulation, 78 points per game given up. I think the under from a team total perspective for Dallas is a better bet than laying the 16 points. Let's go team total under 80.5 for the Dallas Wings. Team total under 80.5. It's minus 125. There's 1.25 units down on it. But I think Vegas is going to clamp down after losing on the road to the Sparks and giving up 98 points. I expect a much better effort defensively out of Vegas here, and I think they close down and shut down Dallas at home. Under 80.5 points at -125. And as this number climbs, as of 176 continues to climb, you guys are probably going to get a better number here from a team total perspective. So 80.5 under -125 for Vegas, so for the team total for the Dallas Wings up against Vegas. And finally, we're going to take a look at the Dream and the Sun here with Atlanta and Connecticut. And this has been wild. I mean, Atlanta is not good ATS. They're 7-11 ATS on the year, but Connecticut's not great either. They're 9-11, even though they're 16-4 straight up. They're 9-11 ATS, which is not great. So, do I want to lay double digits, 11.5, with a team like Connecticut at home? Not really. Head-to-head wise, I mean, it's been all over the place. In the last game on June 28th, Connecticut was at home. Atlanta covered the 10 points pretty easily. The team that's been favored here is 2-8 ATS. In the last, the team favored has been 8-2 straight up, but not covering. So, these numbers are kind of all over the place since they've been playing, and 5-5 to the over as well. So it's a little kind of a wonky thing. Atlanta's last 10 games, they're 6-4 to the over. Overall on the year, they're 9-9. Connecticut is 6-4 to the under. They're 11-9. 11-9 to the under so far on the year. And you look at Connecticut's last 2 games, both of them gone under 152, under there, under 157, under there, both on the road. Home game against Atlanta back on the 28th of June, the same team they're playing today. It was 150. It went over at home against, and that was a kind of a weird home game in between a 6-game stretch where they had 5 road games and 1 home game. Against LA, it was a 153.5 number. The game went under there, just barely went under. Against Indiana back on the 10th of June at home, the game went over with 159. So now we're looking at a 151.5 total here, and it's come down. It's 150.5 right now at the Superbook. I think you have to shop around and try to find a number, the best number available, and fire on the over. I think this is one of those trends where everything's pointing to the game's going under, but 150.5 is really low. That is a low total. Just like 170 is a really high total, 175 is a really high total, 150.5 is a really low total here for Connecticut and for Atlanta on the road. I mean, I just think the chance 2-1 to the over on the road in their last 3 games. 85-82 against Dallas, 81-75 against New York, 78-74 here against Connecticut. Game went over at 150. Let's go over 150.5. Over 150.5 for Atlanta and Connecticut for 1.1 units. Okay, so we're looking at 167.5 under Sparks Mercury, over 150.5 for the Dream and the Sun, and under 80.5 team total for Dallas here for 3 bets for us here on a Sunday. Let's end the week. Let's put this week to bed. Let's move on to a new week here and forget this week ever existed and come back strong for next week and get things rolling in the right direction. So thank you for watching. My name is Matt Perrault. Follow me across all socials at Sports Talk Matt every morning, even on vacation. It's the Daily Juice Podcast.